What is that one thing that everybody has in common when they come to you for consulting?
An immense potential and lack of knowledge of it. It all starts with knowing yourself better.
As a woman, how did you feel when you went to your corporate job, from figures to not being bothered about figures?
There is so much burnout. There is so much workplace trauma. We should be happy when we go to work, right?
Losing a parent is the hardest thing that one has to face in life.
It was a very tough time, but again, so much gratitude because that time showed me so much about myself.
What was your takeaway from that phase of your life?
That 1 hour of volunteering was the only time I was alive.
How did you manage it that time?
With blood, sweat and tears, Mehak.
Where we speak heart to heart and conversations flow. You're watching the Mehak Ankar Show. On this show today, I have a piece of my heart who's joined me. I've known her for about 20 years. CA turned banker, turned social sector person, and now a founder of AccelerateWise. I'm delighted to introduce Snigdha Sahal on the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I am thrilled. Congratulations on this show, Mehak. You deserve this and so much more, and all the happiness and all the fame to you.
Thank you so much. I think happiness is what I'm looking for. Peace, joy, inspiration. And I am so happy that finally, with so many people's blessings and hard work, this show has come to life. We've spoken about so many of our life journeys and pivot points and how we have struggled in, various different ways. And we've been there for each other. In the show, I'm trying to build a space where people feel like, okay, they belong here, they have an anchor, they have somebody that they can look up to, they have a show that they can watch whenever they're feeling low, they have a show which they connect with, and they can find the show in their moments of deepest lows when they think that they have hit the rock bottom. And that is the idea of this show. And you're here today. You've been with me through so many of my rock bottoms in life, and I don't know if I've been through yours, but tell me, your new venture, AccelerateWise, the kind of work that you're doing, you have also grown in so many ways. And what does AccelerateWise do?
First, let me also say that this show is you. This is what you actually do. You hold spaces for so many people and you're just putting together everyone. And it's beautiful because it's who you are. And it's actually mesmerizing watching this come together now. AccelerateWise has also evolved with time. When we started with being growth and strategy consulting organization, to now, the more we spend time with leaders, the more we understand that there is so much burnout, there is so much workplace trauma, so many people, so many leaders, especially women, they feel so unseen. The thought that has taken hold in our minds is that we want to solve this systemic problem. We should be happy when we go to work, right?
And you've been a woman leader. You have worked with so many organizations. You worked with the Ramal Group, and then you worked with Action Against Hunger, and you were heading the organization in various capacities at different given point of times. So as a woman, how did you feel when you went to your corporate job every day?
Like all jobs, there are ups and downs, of course. But I feel that I had someone like me back then. I wish I had somebody who stood next to me and said, it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to not want to become someone else. It's okay to not embrace or not run after mainstream ways of being a leader.
Yeah.
And you can lead and you can be successful because you want to. I met some wonderful people who did support me, and I think this is my way of paying it forward. I wish so many people have what I didn't have and then I did have. Yeah, I think that there is so much potential each one of us carry, but there's also so much pressure to do it in a certain way that we lose ourselves. I want to truly change that and redefine what leadership means to the world.
I know we've had so many late night conversations about, how the top management still, even if women are put into a leadership position, then they are more like a puppet and they should just listen to what the board of directors would say and just conform to the stereotypes that our society really expect women to be. And you have been anything but those stereotypes, which is so amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how did you pave your way through? Of course, when we are young, we want to get an opportunity, then we get an opportunity, then we want to make it better, then we want to prove a point that, we are more than just good looks or maybe, just more than women. There is substance. We want to work in a certain way. We want to be applauded in a certain manner. So, you've actually climbed so many steps and you've been at places some women can only dream of being. How did you manage that and what were the struggles that you faced?
With blood, sweat, and tears, Mehak. Of course, a lot of pain. But I also truly believe that only with pain comes evolution. Only with evolution comes growth. And every time you grow, you can only have gratitude. Even for the most painful and the rock bottom moments that you've been with me in, only gratitude. Because each of those experiences, life is showing us those experiences because life trusts me to handle them and perhaps learn something from them and hopefully also pass it on to people who are in my position. So, yeah, blood, sweat, tears, and gratitude.
That's a wonderful 4 words that you've actually summed it up. It's not that easy. When from banking you went to social sector, what prompted that move? Because not many people, from figures to not being bothered about figures. That's not a transition that many people take so easily.
Trust me, I had a good time when I was a banker. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I learned so much. I think everything I am today, my base has been those strong processes. But I was also disillusioned because I could continuously see myself not being anyone around me. I did not know what I wanted to be when I grew up, right? And I was growing up so fast.
We all do.
We all do. So I took that leap of faith because I used to volunteer a lot, and that used to be my only hour of joy in the week. That 1 hour of volunteering was the only time I was alive. And that, that was really introspective moments to think that, okay, if that is it, then that should be 24/7. So that prompted that journey.
Curious to know, we talk about so many things and I know so much about you, but still there are questions that I have and, I am so curious to know about stuff. You told me you used to go to this godforsaken place and, travel by some difficult transport sometimes and being a woman going to places like Bagad, which I still remember, whenever I tried calling you, no network, and then I'm like, okay, Snigdha must be in Bagad.
True.
Being a woman traveling to such places, remote areas, plus, making sure that some kind of development happens there when you were working with the Piramal Group. What was your takeaway from that phase of your life?
So first, it's one of the most beautiful places. It's also the region that I am from. So I was truly reunited with my roots. So I was thriving. But I was also thriving because personally, I wasn't having a great life personally. But every time I went there, the women that I was working with, they had such massive transformation stories on a monthly basis.
Like what?
So many, from being, having been an abused wife to now owning a house, sending your kids to, to universities, from taking care of your family to building a community of other women who are looking. They were doing it.
And they were all like people who might not even be 10th pass.
No, they were not very educated. And I know of, a lot of women who worked with me then, who I'm still in touch with, who not only finished 10th and then 12th, and then they did more courses, and then they changed careers. And it's phenomenal. What was I doing? They were helping me grow.
They were healing parts of you. They were
Absolutely.
helping you grow, change your
Absolutely.
perspective. Any particular story that has stuck with you, other than, this person from being in an abusive relationship to a house owner sending kids to university?
Actually, many stories, but let me tell you this interesting one, and also because it comes back to the leadership work. So we had promoted this lady. So we used to run a all-women run and BPO back then. I'm talking about many years ago. It was a very new thing, a rural BPO. We had recently promoted her, and they had a little tiff within the team. So one of the team members, she told her, the protagonist of my story, was told that you could not even manage a husband. How are you going to manage this team?
Wow.
Now it sounds straight out of a Saas Bahu serial, but it was really the reality. The amount of time it took her to take charge of that team, it just got derailed because it was true. She was a woman who was separated. Her husband had gone for whatever other pastures, and it came back. It comes back to work, right? And it should not.
Yeah.
But it is that the truth is that as women, we bring all of ourselves to work.
Yeah.
Right? With my pains and hormones and my societal pressures, I come to work with all of that baggage. And sometimes something triggers. But that woman, the way she took charge, right? It took her a little while, but the way she took charge and the way she made a life of her own, hats off to her. And with that one statement, she showed them all.
With her work.
With her work.
Absolutely. Yeah. How inspiring is that? We've spoken about relationships, and we all have been through some good, some bad paths there. You got married, and then I remember we had this chat, and when you told me that you're gonna be separated and divorced, and I was like, okay. And I remember coming down, and we sat and we chatted, and I met him as well. It must have been a very difficult decision, first of all, and then talking to your family about it. And, we can say it doesn't matter what the family says. I made a decision, I'm going to stick to it. But it does matter at the end of the day.
Of course. No. I think it's any separation is tough, right? And when you've invested so much love, a whole part of you in something, and then it doesn't, I don't like to say work out, but it doesn't work out the way you imagined it would work out. Of course, it's deeply painful, and I'm very blessed that my family continues to be like the rock support. My friends, like the way I got support and I got the validation, and also just the inner gut that said this is the right thing to do, and I was able to do it. It took me so long to heal. One, of course, therapy is God sent, but also healing, when you heal those parts of you that hurt and they don't hurt anymore, then those memories also fade away. And what gets left is just a healthier, sweeter, more joyous you and parts of you that, and it's okay. When I look back, I truly think I was super brave.
You were. And till today, I give example. I'm like, I have this friend, and what usually women do, and in India, they get divorced, and what happens? They go back to their father's house. Most of the times, of course, there are exceptions, but what people would do is that, where else would you fall back? And I remember your entire family being here in Mumbai, and you chose to stay alone, or a big fight. Oh my God, what a big fight it was. But you did it, and you made it. So your inspiration really goes a long way, and people who are watching us on the show today, I'm sure, are going to know this. And when you know that this woman is so strong, and then you know that you're going to work with her, because the kind of work that you do, you did Action Against Hunger, you were heading it for a while, and I remember the entire journey that you had there, and you had a great team, people loved you.
No, thank you for talking about it. I think it all starts with knowing yourself better. So even the fact that I was able to take certain decisions, whether it was quitting jobs that were working well, or quitting jobs that were really people would kill to have those jobs, or quitting a marriage, it is because I think I truly invested in knowing myself. And the one thing is that I am a free-spirited being. I truly can't be controlled. It's just is just that. And so many women like exist like that, right? We are nature. Women are nature. We have cycles and we have seasons and we are just, free.
Beautiful beings.
Yeah. And the more we are controlled, the more we, either we act out or we, it gets expressed in other ways. So knowing yourself is the basis of everything. Even in Action Against Hunger, oh my God, I had such a great time because I was a COVID time to be able to, turn around an organization, not only make it sustainable, but make it, abundant. Wouldn't have been able to obviously do it without the people and the super amazing team I had. And that was also the time that my dad was super sick, right? We lost him, that. And such a torn heart I had. Like, there were people who were suffering. There were teens who were suffering and my family was suffering. It was a very tough time, but again, like so much gratitude because that time showed me so much about myself. I would never go back to being that person again.
That you were before COVID.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, I was just about to come to this point. So when uncle passed away, when your father passed away, and I remember how you and your sister really, were there, tried to make it, work for him and took care of him. Though that void will always be there, but how did you manage it that time? Because, losing a parent can really be a very, very, like, probably the toughest time in one's life.
I think it continues to be the toughest time of my life. It is not gone anywhere. The grief is very much right here sitting on my chest. When you lose a parent, and you know how the father's role in your life is the anchor, right? Is the backup. When you don't have a backup, you fail. How are you supposed to succeed when your backup you don't have? What are you going to fall back on? So, no, but I'm again very grateful that I have my mother and my sister, my niece, my partner Nitish, you guys, like so many people who have become parts of that anchor. And that's a tribe I'm choosing. That's my family that I'm building.
You grow as a person when you go through that journey. And then after that, when you do something, it's more meaningful. So now when you're here, when you're running AccelerateWise, you founded it 3 years back and, you're working with so many women leaders. What is that one thing that everybody has in common when they come to you?
An immense potential and lack of knowledge of it. Not knowing this mind sitting inside me because there's nobody telling it to me and I have suppressed it so many years ago. The messaging we get is so negative sometimes, right? This is not good enough, you're not good enough, you can't do this, ye aapke bas ki baat nahi hai, ye aap kaise kar payenge. Like it just gets internalized.
Most of the times, it's not even the other person who's saying this. It's you telling yourself in your head.
And hence knowing yourself is always the first biggest step. Once you start knowing parts of you, I think 60% of the work is done.
So now that, you've done so well in the corporate world and, you're doing so well with AccelerateWise as well, it's amazing how you thought about doing something more meaningful. You've done your master's in psychotherapy. What brought you to this point where you thought that, okay, I've done it all. I am where I need to be in life. I'm working with top leaders, women leaders. I'm doing all right. Then what made you think that you wanted to do this and why did you take it up?
I can't just do one thing. That is another thing I know about myself. I really need a lot of variety and I experiment a lot. But this one, as you know, comes from a deep place of supporting people. The more work we were doing with organizations in helping them grow, automatically it meant working with their leaders. Automatically it meant working with their limiting beliefs, their patterns, their belief systems. And it just would become deep, insightful conversations and which automatically led to being, the whole mentorship program that we started where we started working with leaders who were coming and doing only mentorship with us. And when I was, and especially women leaders has always been my forte. The commonality of the common things that came out from all these mentoring sessions were that that you need support, and you need support in a way that somebody understands what you're trying to achieve at work, but also understands what your mind is going through, also understands what you're going through emotionally, and also understand what an Excel sheet is. It also helps you make money.
Yeah.
Right. I thought it was very unique that I could offer, and hence the degree, because it truly supported me to make that, that layering of my offerings to people better. But yeah, it's been such a fun journey, because the more women leaders were coming to me for getting mentored, the common arc that was coming out was so interesting that we've now recently launched a 3-month leadership journey for only women. And the idea is very simple. That we don't want you to change. We are not going to fix you. There's no need to read, 100 leadership books and attend 100 leadership seminars and workshops who tell you to be assertive and aggressive. Let's work on who you are, know yourself, and enhance it. Whatever is your enhanced version is your success version.
Absolutely. What a wonderful thought. I think this is one of the best things I've heard in ages, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it in another episode as well.
Yes.
But for today, I really, really want to say thank you, Snigdha, for joining us today. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
You're my heart. So I will do this 100 times over.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. Congratulations again, and I love you.
Thank you. Well, that was Snigdha Sahal, the founder of AccelerateWise, an organization that works with women leaders around the world, and a very dear friend who was here today. What an absolute delight to have that conversation. Well, for you to keep watching this amazing content, subscribe to the channel and keep watching the Mehak Ankar Show.